What's up, dudes? How's it going today? Dakblake here, and today we're going to be talking about a new story. So, sit back, relax, because you're going to figure out the worst thing I ever said. Now, let me just preface this by starting out by saying that I was a kid, and I didn't have a filter, and I don't think kids in general have filters. As a small little child, you don't really think about what you're saying, so this is kind of what's going on. And so, let's just start off this story. I went to Knott's Berry Farm when I was 4. And so it was a fun time, but you don't really go on big rides. You just go to like Camp Snoopy. And if you don't know what Knott's Berry Farm is, for people who are like not in California, it's an amusement park. Knott's Berry Farm. It has like Charlie Brown themed stuff there too. But yeah, let's just keep going. So I was there at like this Camp Snoopy thing. That's what they call the little area, and it was just like average child rides, the mini Supreme Scream, the planes that go up and down. And so I was going on that. And eventually, you know how kids just get tired. Despite having fun, they're just like, I don't want to walk anymore. So we had a little fun on that. We walked around a little bit, and then I was like, I'm hungry. So we went to that famous chicken restaurant. I forgot what it's called, but there was a chicken restaurant outside of Knott's Berry Farm, kind of like on the same premise, though. And so we went to go eat there. And I remember walking up to the thing, going inside and then having like a really good meal, but then coming out and seeing this really, really, really fat guy. I'm not talking about like, oh, this guy's like 50 pounds overweight. I'm talking about like 300 pounds. And he was sitting on the one bench, and he was taking up like the entire bench, and he had his arms around his stomach. And as a little kid, I just didn't understand that. And so I walked up to him and I was like, hey. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you ate a bunch, huh? He's like, like all sad. And I was like, you ate too much, huh? And he was like, just nodding, like, and then I was like, are you full? Like, I was just asking him things like what I assumed that body was, I assumed he just ate a bunch. Because in cartoons, when they ate a lot, that's how they turned into. They're like, oh, I ate so much. So I walked up to him and I was like, wow, you ate a lot of food. And he was like, but he probably took it as, wow, you can't control your eating habits, huh? And he's just like, I'm sorry. But it's like, I was like just saying so many mean things to him, and my mom and dad walk up like, oh my gosh, oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. And so, I mean, that guy must have had a really bad day, and I feel bad. Even now, what is it, like 14 years later? So, not only that, but even on a worse note, my mom she had an old job as an MRI technician at this one hospital, and her boss was like, oh, you can bring in Dakota to work, right? And my mom was like, yeah, sure. And my mom's boss was all like, oh, that's cool, I want to meet him, blah, blah, blah. So, my mom's boss was really overweight, and my mom knew this, and she was scared that another thing was going to happen from Knott's Berry Farm. So we got there, and my mom just wanted to keep me like close, didn't want anybody talking, and I was a smart kid. I talked by the time I was like 1-ish, and I was already forming full sentences by like 1.5, and I was already walking by 1. And so by age 4, I was already making full-fledged sentences. You look at a 4-year-old and you think, oh, look at a little baby. I was walking around like, hey, can you make me a tuna sandwich, please? So when I got to her work, my mom was like just unsure of what I was going to do. She was scared I was going to go, wow, you're fat, or something like that. But it was even worse. So my mom was trying to do the whole talking, and she goes, hi, blah, 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 this is my son Dakota, he's really nice, he's in kindergarten right now, and blah, blah, like, just keep talking. And so then, like, I was kind of, like, scared, and so, like, I mean, like, you can't really describe it, but it's, like, you don't know why, but, it's, like, my mom told me that what happened was I was standing next to her, and then she comes in to, like, give me a hug, and then I go, you're scaring me, and I run away. And then she's like, what? And then she walks over to me. I'm like, you're fat. You're scaring me. And so I was screaming, you're fat. You're scaring me. And I was running away from her. And my mom says she has never been more embarrassed in her life. And It's like, how do you control what your kid says, you know? Like, I feel like that's the most uncontrollable aspect of any part of a life, you know? So, I mean, this is basically it. Those are the only two things that I can remember. Just like, I just said horrible things. I mean, probably when I was in kindergarten, I must have said something mean to, somebody, or even growing up that I didn't even know. But that was mean. But I mean, if you guys have any story as well, I want to hear about it in the comments. I see a bunch of people returning, and I love that. I see a bunch of people commenting on this and replying to my Twitters and stuff. So thank you guys for all the support, and thank you guys for watching. So tune in tomorrow, and as always, peace out, my dudes.